Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show.
Now, do you take any supplements at all? Any vitamins or minerals or anything? I know you
Yes,
told me.
I'll tell you about that. I met a gentleman quite a few years ago, Dr. Schultz, and he had through Dr. Christopher. I met him. Dr. Christopher, one of the greatest herbologists in the world. As a matter of fact, I went to his school, and so did Dr. Schultz. And he has a formula I'll call. It's Schultz's superfood. It was just Schultz's food, but now it's superfood because he improved it. And I'll tell you the truth, it works. It really works. Because it has every nutrient that the body needs. And of course, if you use that with 2 shots of echinacea, you'll never get a cold. I lived in New York, and in all years without a cold.
So, how often do you do the superfood?
Every morning.
Every morning.
Never miss.
Could you give us a few non-diet related health tips?
Well, stress will kill you. That's what my daddy told me when I was a kid. In the Garden of Eden, when God left Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, he didn't leave no hamburgers, he didn't leave no hot dogs, or nothing like that, fried chicken or spare ribs. He left fruit and vegetables. So that hit me. Fruit and vegetable must be healthy. So the more I ate it, the better it tastes, I continued. As a matter of fact, as I can remember, I don't remember where I was reading in the Bible where anybody ate cooked food prior to the flood. After the flood, then they started. We got commercial and hungry for money, so they decided to change things. But it didn't change me too much because, as the Bible says, moderation. Daddy taught me all this. As a matter of fact, he gave me the 10th commandment. I still have it. It's regular now. He said, try to follow this as much as you possibly can. He says, I know you can't go all the way with it. He said, if 1/3 of the world would follow the 10th commandment, it would be a marvelous place to live. He said, that's why God said he forgave you 99 times because he knew you were going to sin. And I thought about that. The older I got, the more I got involved in things he had told me when I was young. He said to me one time, you don't gamble, so what are you doing in a gambling joint? You don't drink, so what are you doing in a bar? You're married, so you got no business in a house review. So he says, if you stay away from those places that the devil has everything out there for you to tempt you. And he gets you tempted. He knows whiskey will upset your brain, and you're easy to be led. So stay away from that whiskey. Just eat vegetables and fruit, what God left into the Garden of Eden, and you'll be a healthy man. He says you'll live a long time, and it's proven. I'm 108, and I feel good.
So, how old did your dad live to?
98.
98.
98.
You ended up coming out with a book.
That's right. Eat less and live more. Oh, I must have been about 100, yes, I was 100. And my son-in-law, he had a business in Charlotte, and I was in North Carolina at the time. And I invited him over for lunch. He came over and brought a couple of friends with him. I fixed lunch for him. So he says to me, you know, you should write a book. So I said, well, why? Why should I write a book? He said, I'm looking at you in the kitchen, you're over 100, he said. Because I just had my 100th birthday. You're dancing around in the kitchen just like you did when I first met you 20 years ago. So I said, well, I feel good. And I think the results of that is the way I've lived till this time. So he says, you ever have a cold? I said, dog, colds and things, that's not for me. I said, I do everything to prevent a cold. My father said 1 ounce of prevention is worth 1,000 pounds of cure. I said, I heard it a lot of times since then, but the first man I heard say that was my daddy. 1 ounce of prevention It's worth $1,000. So you don't get it, you don't have to cure it. So I've fought all my life to keep from getting these things by eating the way I told you, drinking plenty of water, and getting my rest. The rest is very important. I used to talk to the fellows about their feet. Feet is very important. My daddy said to me, keep your feet clean of dirt and of crust and whatnot. I said, well, how do you do that, Daddy? He said, your feet are tied up all day long in a tight shoe and socks. They can't breathe. He said, the skin has to breathe. If you keep it clean and put olive oil on it, he says, you will not get wrinkles. And aside from that, he said, I'm going to tell you, don't shave yet. I don't think you'll be shaving soon because I didn't shave until I was 20-something. He said, after you shave, never mind the sweet stuff that they put on your face, smells sweet. He said, take a dab of olive oil and rub it on constantly. He said, it doesn't take much. He said, it'll go in there. You just keep rubbing. He said, your skin will stay smooth for a long while. I said, you see, you look at my skin now, and the average man, you'd find half my age. I said, he's starting to wrinkle or something drying out. Mine is not dry at all. I still use olive oil. And about the feet, coming back to that, I used to have to bathe my feet every night. He said, told the housekeeper, while he's studying his lesson, we should get that tub and put lukewarm water just above the temperature of his blood and put some Castile soap in it. They don't have that around, I don't think, anymore. Castile soap. And he said, let him soak while he's studying his lesson. And by the time he's finished studying his lesson, you take a pumice stone and take all the... She said, but doctor, he has no dead skin on there yet. She said, I don't want it to ever get there. And if you take the pumice stone and rub it off and then dry it, get some olive oil, I'll give you some. And you don't need much, he says, and rub it good. And then he had her a pair of white socks. He said, put these socks on. They were half socks. They didn't come all the way up. He said, that would prevent the sheet from getting greasy. He said, it wouldn't get greasy anyway. The olive oil goes right in, and it does. You try it sometime. You rub it, and it goes right in.
So you have that tip and all these other tips in your wonderful book and your book just came out like last year.
That's right.
So it has 107 years of your knowledge in that book.
That's right.
Age Less, Live More. And recommend everyone get this book because you have pictures in there of how you grew up.
That's right.
Wonderful stories from your dad.
That's right.
And and it's an amazing book.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah. Let's give your 3 top health tips for the viewers out there.
Well, number one is keep your colon clean. If you keep your colon clean, everything else in the body can do its job. The kidneys can do it, the liver can do its job properly, the kidneys can do its job, and of course the liver, that's the purifier. If you keep your colon clean, the liver can do its job properly, and if you don't do it, if you don't do what I told you to do, what's going to happen? You're going to get sick. And of course there is this formula that I told you about called Dr. Schultz's superfood. That is terrific. But you have to take it in the right manner. You mix it with fruit in the morning and juice. Doesn't have to be organic. If it's wonderful if you do get organic, but if you can't, blend it together with a squirt of Echinacea Plus. And I guarantee you will stay well on and on and on. It has worked for me. Worked for my whole family, as a matter of fact.
So tip number 1 would be keep your colon clean.
That's number
tip
1.
number 2 is Dr. Schultz Superfood.
That's right.
And what's tip number 3?
A regular eating, and do not bother with this. The worst thing you can do in the morning, you end up having a cup of coffee and donuts. It kills you right off. That first thing you know, you got diabetes, you don't even realize.
Sure. So tip number 3 is to avoid fast food restaurants.
That's in a nutshell. Have a great day and a great royal life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.